What's good, y'all? It's your boy Matt, your favorite CEO, fitness model, and content creator. Listen, man, if you learned a lesson, it wasn't a loss. If you learned a lesson from any experience that you had in your life, then it was not a loss. A lot of people walk around, especially me, I've been a victim of this, going around and saying, oh my God, I lost this. Damn, I took a L. Damn, I took a L. Oh my God, why me? Why me? You have to develop a different type of mentality and say, okay, cool. What did this teach me? Okay, cool. I was in a toxic relationship with a woman, right? Because I'm a man and I like women, right? I don't care what you like. But I went through this for a reason. This wasn't a loss because she broke up with me or because she cheated on me. It wasn't a loss. It was a learning experience. Why did she cheat on me, right? What was I doing in that relationship that brung that to happen into my life, that I attracted that into my life, right? Maybe I was letting her walk all over me. Maybe I wasn't putting my foot down. Maybe I had no backbone, right? And things like this, you start to realize, okay, cool, I'll make sure in my next relationship, it's not a repeated cycle. So if I catch this individual doing something crazy, like talking to me a certain way, I'm going to put my foot down. I'm going to set my boundaries. I'm going to have my standards, as opposed to a repeated cycle. A lot of times you're going to go through the same cycle over and over again until you learn. But it's not a loss if you learn something from it. I was in a relationship when I was in my early years of high school, right? When I was a freshman going into my sophomore year, I was dating this girl, and she broke up with me after like 3-4 months, something like that. And during that relationship, now that I look back at it, I was learning her to talk to me any type of way. She was hanging up with me for no reason. I was blowing up her phone, calling her back. It's just, I had no backbone in that relationship. I was letting her talk to me any type of way. I wasn't putting my foot down. I didn't have boundaries. I was in that phase where I was in love, so I was just accepting it as normal. I was too nice. You know how they say nice guys finish last, right? But I was too nice. I didn't have a backbone. I didn't have no confidence. You know what I mean? Especially during that time, I was still insecure because I still had acne. I was still skinny. I still wasn't who I wanted to be, right? And I didn't know who I was during that time. So she took advantage of that. You know what I mean? And I allowed it. But after she broke up with me, I was heartbroken. It was tough. It was a very, very tough time for me, because that was during the time I was in a dark place already. I was already in a dark place mentally during that time because I didn't love me during that time. So after that, that just added fuel to that fire. You know what I mean? And it was crazy because during that time I was like, damn, why me? Why me? Why me? Why is this happening to me? Why she broke up with me? Oh my God, this and that. But I realized it happened for a reason. I didn't have a backbone. I had no courage to speak my mind. I was blowing up her phone. I was talking to her 3-4 a.m., staying on the phone. Like I was doing a lot of things that showed that I was dependent on her and dependent on our relationship for my own happiness, for my own satisfaction. And she saw that. She paid attention to that. And she took advantage of that. Shout out to her, though. We cool. Like, I spoke to her a few months ago. Like, we Gucci. Like, I ain't got nothing against her. I want nothing but the best for her. And I'm not here to bash her in any way, shape, or form. I'm just letting you guys know, like, during that time, I thought it was the end of the world. But now looking back from a higher mind, it was a learning experience, because my next relationship that I got into when I was 16, right? My girlfriend that I'm still currently with, 6-7 years strong, 7 years strong, baby. 7 years fucking strong. I'm 23 years old. I've been with my girlfriend since I was 16, right? My queen, my baby that I've been with since I was 16 and I've known since I was 11, right? When I got into that new relationship with her, right? I set my boundaries early in a relationship and I put my foot down, and we have a mutual agreement. Like, nah, no, you ain't gonna talk to me that type of way. I'm not gonna talk to you that type of way. You know what I'm saying? If you banging on me for no reason, I'm not calling you back because I didn't do nothing to you. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a different type of energy. So that taught me something, that in my new relationship, I didn't allow those things to happen. And it wasn't going to happen. And it doesn't happen because I put my foot down and I learned from that experience. But it wasn't a loss because she broke up with me and my ex-girlfriend. It was a learning experience. I learned something from it. And now me and my girlfriend are 7 years strong. I've been with my girlfriend since I was 16, bro. I'm 23 going on 20. I'll be 24 next year. Ain't that crazy? I'm blessed, grateful. I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm with my queen, the woman of my dreams. You know what I mean? So, but that was a learning experience for me, is what I'm trying to get at. And it taught me something. It taught me something about in a relationship. When you're in a relationship, you can't let your partner walk all over you and talk to you any type of way, try to dominate you. Nah, put your foot down, have your boundaries, have your standards. And that's what I did. And that's why my relationship so far with my lady, my queen, has been very, very successful, because I have my own boundaries and so does she. She got shit going on for herself, and so do I. You know what I mean? And we're both mature in our own way. But during that time, like I said, it was a learning experience. And it put me in a place where during that time, when I was already going through shit, it fortified my mind long term, because it allowed me to separate from everybody. Because during that time, after I got broken up with, it was a wrap. I separated myself. I went into solitude. I wasn't hanging out with nobody. I was going to the park, hooping, coming home, spending time by myself. I went to movies by myself. I had to figure out who I was, and I had to, reprogram my mind and figure out different ways to love myself again. Because during that time, I did not love me. I based my own self-love on my relationship. I based my own level of importance on my relationship. But when I learned that that's not how you're supposed to do things, and you're supposed to just love yourself and be there for yourself and show up for you at all times, then that's when my life started to change. My life started to improve. You get what I'm saying? So I need you to understand that these are learning experiences that are shaping you into the man or woman that you intend to become. You might be going through shit right now, but look at it from a different perspective. Ask yourself, if you're watching this video and you're dealing with something very, very serious in your mind, because to you it might be serious, but to somebody else it might be very minute. But ask yourself at this very moment, what I'm dealing with right now, what is this teaching me? What can I learn from this experience that I'm dealing with? Whether it's a financial struggle, a relationship struggle, you got cheated on. What can I learn from this? And how can I improve next time so this won't happen again? And when you take inventory in that way, then the next time this thing happens, okay, cool. You was prepared for it because you knew, okay, I know how to maneuver. Or I know how to prevent this from happening because I know how to move now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going into this relationship being a simp and, being all over her and shit and not giving her space to breathe. No, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna do my own thing, focus on myself. And at the same time, we're gonna continue to come together and start our own legacy, start our own family. But I'm not gonna be all up under you all the time. No, hell no. I got my own shit to take care of. If I don't focus on my purpose, bills don't get paid. If I don't focus on my purpose, we don't have a roof over our head. You know what I mean? So when you start thinking like that and you start developing that mindset, like, okay, cool. What is this teaching me? What is this teaching me? What is this teaching me? What is it? Ask yourself with every situation that you deal with, right? Negative experience, quote unquote. What is this teaching me? This is teaching me something. Oh, okay. This is teaching me this. Bet. Then you start looking at it from an optimistic perspective. Okay, cool. This is what I'm supposed to learn. This is what it's teaching me. Then you propel, move forward and learn from it. And then you move on. And that's it. Even if it's financial. I was in a financial struggle a year and a half ago, right? I got a car I could not afford during that time. I went in there with $500 with the mindset I'm going to just put $500 down, give my monthly payment and get out. It was not that simple. It was not that simple. My pops told me, Matt, don't get the car. Can't afford it, right? You're not ready yet, right? And in my mind, I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, yeah, whatever. Shut up. I don't care. My parents telling me this, right? But I really wasn't ready yet. I wasn't. I didn't have the funds for it yet. I didn't have enough money saved up. And they told me that at the dealership. They said, yo, bro, you need a minimum 2K. You need minimum 2K to put down on a down payment for this car, right? And I was like, you know what? I'll figure out a way to get the 1,500. My pops, my mom, they helped me out. Got the car, right? My first car, Toyota Camry, black, 2020, 18,000 miles. I got this year and a half ago. It was still brand new, the beginning of 2024, brand new. 18,000 miles for 4 years, my G. You know what I mean? But I rushed in to get in the car, couldn't afford. The first sign that I wasn't ready yet was that they told me you need 2K. So my mind, from a higher mind now, if I was told that right now, I would say, okay, bet, I'm gonna wait. And I would have left the dealership. Me at the time, I was so animate about getting a car, wasn't paying attention that I was making decisions based on my emotions and not what was logical. And I rushed in to get in a car that I could not afford, thinking I could afford it, but things didn't work out the way that I planned. And I struggled for that whole year. Last year, until like August, September, I was struggling. Could not pay for my car note was $650, my insurance was $600, gas, tolls, all that shit was like $1,500. I'm like, I'm paying rent for a car. But it was a learning experience because I know that now when I go into my next vehicle, shout out to Lamborghini, I'm getting my Urus. But when I get my next vehicle, bro, like when the time comes, or when I even get my spot, bro, move to Jersey, like I know that I know what to expect. I'm not going to make a stupid ass financial decision based off an impulse. I'm going to do it with logic. I'm going to make these decisions based on logic, not my emotions. You know what I mean? But like I said, then again, my point being, that was a learning experience that taught me something, right? I wasn't ready yet. So now I know when it comes to me manifesting my goals, manifesting my dream spot, manifesting my dream house, manifesting my dream whip, I know not to rush into these things. And if there's certain signs telling me I'm not ready, I'm not forcing that shit. I'm going to just fall back, work a little bit harder, then I'm going to make it happen. You know what I mean? As opposed to, okay, cool, there's certain signs telling me I'm not ready, but I'm not going to pay attention to those signs. I'm going to do my own thing. That's how things go wrong. And that's why I spent 7 to 8 months struggling because I couldn't fucking pay for my car. And it was hard. I was doing Uber. I was working a fucking minimum wage job. I couldn't afford my whip. It was tough. Very tough time for me. My parents helped me with multiple payments. And I'm being transparent with y'all because I'm not going to come on here like I'm perfect. I struggled for 8 months. Then eventually, I figured out a way to get a car, to get rid of the car, right? I got a loan I sold the car and I got a loan for the difference of how much I would have owed. I got a loan for like 10K, right? Thank God I was able to do that, and I was able to pay it off. But now I'm still paying that loan for the 10K, but I was able to get out of that car and that insurance and all that bullshit that I put myself in because I was in a rush to do something that I wasn't ready for yet. You know what I mean? As opposed to if I would have waited a little bit longer and stacked up a little bit more funds and had consistent income at the time, I would have been Gucci. I would have been in a better space. Oh, if I would have just waited and looked for a cheaper car, I would have found a cheaper car. My siblings at the time, my sister, my eldest sister, Tiffany, and her husband, Dante, bro, they was selling they fucking, they were selling their Nissan. Their Nissan, they was selling for 13K. 13K, they was 12, 13K, they was selling their car for. I could have got a 12K loan and gave them the money for their car, and my monthly payments would probably been like $200 as opposed to $650, and my insurance probably would have been cheaper. You know what I mean? But had I waited a week later, I could have got their whip. I spent $30,000 plus on my Camry. When I could have got a whip for $11,000, $12,000, and my payments would have been cheaper had I waited. But I was such in a rush. I learned from that experience though. So now, like I said, from now on, when I'm moving, right, and I'm experiencing new things in my life, a new apartment, new whip, new house, whatever it may be, I learned from that experience. So now I know how to move next time. So that's basically where I'm getting at with that. Right. But yeah, man, you have to make sure that when it comes to these learning experiences, don't look at them like a loss. It's not a loss, man. You learned something from that and it made you a better person because of it. Me going through those experiences that I just shared with you, right? That's very, very personal to me that I don't tell everybody about, but I'm being transparent with you because I'm not here to sugarcoat. I learned from those experiences and it made me better. So now I'm in a better place financially because I'm not stuck with those things anymore. I know how to maneuver with my money, right? I know how to make decisions based on logic and not just my emotions. You know what I mean? And it taught me a lot, right? Whether it was my relationship, my finances, I'm in a better space in those areas because I learned from those experiences and now I know never to do those things ever again. So when it comes to your life, if you learned, right, from that experience, right, it's not a loss. If you learned something from that experience that you dealt with, financial, physical, right, car accident, whatever it may be, something, that could have been deadly, something that could have taken your life, whatever it may be, you trying to cut up in the road being stupid and something happened, whatever it may be, right? If you learned from it, it's not a loss because it made you better. It fortified your mind in a way where you know never to do that again. You know to put your foot down next time in that relationship. You know not to go on the highway driving 90 miles per hour knowing that, you're a new driver. Or knowing that you could put others in danger, even yourself or whoever's in the car with you. So learn from these experiences. And if you learn from it, it's not a loss. Never look at it as a loss. Everything is a learning experience. Those L's are learning experiences, not losses. Your boy, Matt Rodriguez. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.